crazy, all for the love of you.
Horror is something that I think is looked at in too many different ways. I say this not because I think most horror is bad, even though I do, but because newer entertainment that comes out for the genre are usually frowned upon for the reasons I think that can be fixed with ease. We first off have to understand why horror is a thing. Humans do enjoy being afraid at fictional ideas because after a scary scene in a movie, or a plot twist in a book, or a jump scare in a video game, the person wouldn't be scared anymore. It gives sort of a fight or flight feeling that can give us a boost in confidence because of the adrenaline rush that we get from it. But this all depends on what the fictional ideas we're getting scared of are. And it's not a stretch to say that a lot of what humans are afraid of is stuff that's not human. Something that poses a threat but isn't natural. Although in the modern day, I don't think these things are considered as scary, or definitely not as scary as they once were. So what is? Fears to Fathom is a series I've known for a decently long time. For those who don't know what the series is, by definition, it's an episodic psychological horror game where each episode unveils a short story narrated by the ones who survived. So far, there have been 4 episodes, and I have been lucky enough to purchase every single one and enjoy every single one. Sure, there's not much money poured into them, and it's not the most impressive game ever in terms of high quality, although that is to be given since it is an indie game. Recently, the 4th episode titled Ironbark Lookout has came out, and it seems like each episode is getting better than the last. But before we get to why that is, I should probably explain why I'm talking about this series in the first place. The difference between Fears to Fathom and a lot of the other horror games I've played is that Fears to Fathom is just realistic. There is absolutely no ghosts, no paranormal, no monsters. It's fear of what other humans could do in the real world. And personally, I find this much more horrifying than a lot of the other fictional ideas for horror games. It's definitely not the most realistic game I've played, but it is definitely the most realistic horror game I've played. And to top it off, probably the most immersed I've ever been in a horror game. The game will make you eat, pee, drive, read text messages, and even more. The idea is that while you're doing all of this, you're not really scared. In fact, I'd say most of the time the game starts out as kind of relaxing, but that is exactly what gets you scared. As soon as something goes wrong, it feels like that thing wasn't supposed to happen. This is what makes me like these games so much. They don't scare you with stuff that's too generic. They scare you with stuff that could actually happen in real life, which makes it all the more scary. And the amazing part is that each episode is only getting better. So this series may become so much better than it is right now that it'd probably be remembered as one of the best horror games ever made. One thing that makes Fears to Fathom so great is it makes you feel like you're someone that you're not. I mean, when I played the 3rd episode, I think it was around an hour until things actually started to get scary. The game does this because of padding. No, it's set up. In a way, it makes you feel kind of cozy and comfortable in the environment you're in. It makes you think that nothing could go wrong, even though that you know something will. And that is what's so brilliant about the entire series. If you compare this type of horror game to a lot of the other ones that have came out, I would most definitely pick this one almost every time. And that's just because it feels real. I think horror in general is usually better when it's more realistic. And if you don't believe me, go play one of these episodes.